Hello and welcome everyone to the $25,000 National Grand Prix presented by Resilient Fitness here at Holiday 2 at Wellington International. It's usually beautiful here in Wellington, Florida, but it was a crazy stormy last 24 hours, but now the sun is out. It's a little bit windy, but it's been a good day of show jumping so far. Earlier, we saw Tiffany Foster win the meter 50 CSI 4-star class, but now we're here for some national Grand Prix jumping. Coming up shortly, we will see 23 horse rider combinations featuring some of the very best our sport has to offer. Our 4-star Grand Prix winner, Aaron Vale, will be coming in on a different mount with Styles. Our World Games team gold medalist Adrien Sternlicht with an 8-year-old just stepping up to the higher levels with Casano. And of course, our winner from the meter 50 earlier today, Tiffany Foster, and the 9-year-old Kista. Everyone will be contesting the course set by Andy Christensen. It is a lovely 76 degrees Fahrenheit out. It is a bit windy out there, but at least it's dry. I'm Danny Waldman. I'm thrilled to be here today to kick off this week's final class of the day, the $25,000 Resilient Fitness National Grand Prix. Again, we will be here every Sunday throughout WEF, so make sure to tune in and catch us for the Meter 50 series, as well as some of those 2-star Grand Prix, and we'll be bringing you live action throughout the season, 13 weeks of competition starting in early January. Course is set today. It is spec'd between 145 and 150, and the horses will test over a triple, another double, and it is looking like it's going to be a good day to see 23 horse rider combinations come out. Our course is going to start off the right lead away from jump number 1 at the Brain Java vertical. Then it'll be 8 or 9 strides down to number 2 at those skinny-railed black oxer. Left-handed turn to the Florida Coast equipment. It'll be a black skinny with a little white plank at the bottom. Very delicate jump. Probably about 9 strides into that red double 2-stride oxer vertical. Then a little bit up in 5 strides to the horizontally striped black and white poles. In 5 strides to that vertical right-hand turn around the brain juice oxer. Away from the gate, number 6, a big black oxer, 6 strides down to the triple. It's vertical 1-stride, vertical oxer 1-stride coming out for the triple. Left-handed turn to the IDA, oxer up at the top. Then you have a rollback. We'll see if anybody goes inside the little island or probably around. We'll see what that time allowed looks like. Triple bar, and then 3 strides down to a delicate yellow vertical. And then right hand turn down the final line along the VIP. Vertical 4 strides to the Liverpool oxer, and then probably 8, maybe we'll see 7 or so, depending on the horse's stride lengths and what the riders opt to do. Final jump at the Brain Juice oxer coming right home towards the in-gate. So that is the course set today by Andy Christensen. And our riders and horses are warming up. We're about a little bit over a minute away from our start. And again, thank you to our official veterinarian here at Wellington International. Palm Beach Equine Clinic is pleased to announce that it is advancing its breeding services and now offering OPU and ICSI sessions. ICSI has become an invaluable tool for overcoming fertility issues and provides a method for producing foals with limited interruption to the mare's competition schedule. To learn more about OPU sessions offered this season, contact Palm Beach Equine Clinic at 561-793-1599 to book your session. Again, we're getting ready for the $25,000 Resilient Fitness National Grand Prix. 23 horse rider combinations coming up, and we will be getting started soon here at Wellington International. Luckily, the sun is shining now. It has been some stormy weather here for this final FEI week of competition, but now the wind is blowing, sun is shining, nobody's getting wet. Footing looks perfect at the moment. And you can see some blue skies there in the background. got another week or two of competition here at Wellington International to finish up the year here in 2023, and then, of course, getting us started in early 24 with the Winter Equestrian Festival. Time allowed today on the course is 77 seconds. Again, we'll keep an eye on that as the first couple riders go in. And we're just about getting underway with this $25,000 National Grand Prix. We saw great show jumping earlier today in the meter 50 competition. Tiffany Foster winning that class. She'll be coming back, and we will see her on a different horse, see if she can make it 2 for her wins today. But first up, we're going to see a Colin Sakia and Viper. The 12-year-old stallion by Viper Van Houser Rysdale with a Concord mother. This horse is owned by Eurasia Inc. and Sandra O'Donnell of Wellington, Florida. Colin will be the pathfinder for our class today, the first of 23 horse rider combinations contesting this course set by Andy Christensen. Again, first jump's going to start off the right, away from the in-gate. And the bell is gone. Let's see what Colin does. Does 8 strides, 1 to 2. Now to the skinny. Stays out and does 8 there. 2. 5 strides. That walked actually a little bit long, but with the vertical coming out of the 2 strides, I think that it will ride like it did for Colin. Just a little bit patient. Should be 6 here now. 6 strides into the triple, vertical, vertical. Oxer coming out. Now left-handed turn to the IDA Oxer up at the top of the ring. A little bit far off that for Colin, but he gets over it. And now left-handed turn rollback. He goes around that little island. Strong ride to the triple bar. Does 3 strides there to the yellow vertical. And now coming down the last line. Steady 4 to the Liverpool Oxer. And 8 a little bit too patient at the end. He'll have that last jump down for 4-fault finish. Time is 74.55. And he'll have just that 1 down for 4 faults. Again, our time allowed 77 seconds. We'll keep an eye on that and see if it changes. But Colin was well under that time allowed as it's currently set. Next up, USA's Maggie Hill and Elm Gardens, Dakota. It's a 9-year-old stallion by DeCapo and a Kentucky mother. Owned by Summit Farms, LLC of Jackson, Wyoming. So we saw 8 up the first line. Let's see if that's what Maggie does also. Does the 8. Nice and simple there. She sort of just stayed out and patient. Rode at 2 sort of separate jumps. Now this black skinny. She does the 8. A lot of people said they were going to be doing 9 there. I actually walked the 8. Nice 5 there for her. Horse is jumping beautifully. Takes the first distance out of the turn there. Then she can steady up for the 6 into the triple. Again, it's vertical, vertical in. Does have B down. That's the hard part when you do the 6 and then have to jump vertical, vertical. You got to come in really balanced and think to get through those verticals before you even think to push at the Oxer. Triple bar. 3 strides, a little bit steady. Just nice patient in the 4. Does have the front pole of that. And stays steady for the 8, but gets a little bit deep at the last as well. She'll pick up 3 faults on the course for a total of 12 total, 74.812 for her time. Maggie Hill finishing on a score of 12. Again, I walked 8 strides to that down in the last line, but I have a feeling that some people might opt to do the 7. We've seen it come down twice now with the first 2 riders, both people doing 8. So I'm curious if anyone is going to do the 7. But we'd have seen 2 8s into the double across the middle. But let's see what USA's Richard Neal does and Catamaco LS. 12-year-old gelding by Caruso Lucia with a Cartago mother. Catamaco is owned and ridden by Richard Neal of Wellington, Florida. Just taking a little pause and back up at the canter now. Let's see what he does here. He opts to do 9. We saw 2 8s and now a 9 up that first line. Keep an eye on the time allowed. So he stays on the outside track, does the 9 there into the double. Has a coming in. The 2 8s that we saw worked out really well. So we'll see what the rest of the course chooses to do after seeing Richard now have it down after doing 9 strides. 6 simple into the triple. Jumps through that easily. There, he's just a little bit far off the oxer, and the horse kind of kicks out behind, has the top 2 poles down. Strong ride now at the triple bar after what he did there. That makes the 3 a little short. Touches the out of the 3 behind. And then finishing up at the last 2 down, 8 faults. Time is 73.222 for Richard Neal and Catamaco. So with the 2 down, he will finish up on 8. Again, our time allowed set at 77. Nobody in the first couple rounds had a time fault. So we'll see what Andy Christensen decides, if he's going to adjust that time allowed or not. But no clears yet. He'll probably be keeping that time at 77 seconds. Next up, we're going to see Mexico's Nicole Velasco Magana and FC Ocarla. FC Ocarla is a 13-year-old mare by Verdi with an Indoctro mother. And owned and ridden by Nicole Velasco Magana herself of Coral Gables, Florida. It's a Dutch-bred mare by the Michael van der Vleuten ridden Verdi, famous stallion. Horses out of Verdi, always wanting to please. Let's see if Ocarla is like that. She does have the first jump down. Just looked like the jump got a little bit quick. Kind of hurried at the vertical. Maybe thinking about getting up those 8 strides. Stays out in the 9. Nice jump there at the 2. This horse has such a cute expression. Looks really game. Gets up that 6. Horse not maybe having the biggest of strides. So you can see she kind of had to move also 6 of those strides, but gets up there, jumps through the triple simple. So it's so annoying as a rider to have that first jump down, but sometimes it can actually take a little bit of the stress away, and then you ride great around the rest of the course. Of course, always frustrating result with the first one coming down, but can make for a good rest of the round. A little bit long there in the 4, but gets it done. Stays patient here to the last. She'll finish up time is 73.480, but with that first jump coming down, she will have to settle on the 4 faults. So no clears yet, but course looks like it's riding well. Again, this National Grand Prix, slight step down from the earlier class we saw today, the meter 50. And just for people as riders and horses developing, bringing their horses up to a level, this is always a nice class to get the horses confident as they move up. Next up, we're going to see USA's Charlotte Babbit and Vivienne Blue PS. 10-year-old mare by Vivant with a Choco Blue mother. Owned and ridden by Charlotte herself. Just nice and simple up the first line. A little bit steady into this vertical. Yeah, she was a little bit deep. Maybe did one too many strides out of the turn. Then stays out in the 9. And you could see she was on a little bit of an angle as she jumped that oxer. And I think the horse, 1 was a little bit far away in the 2 strides, and 2 was super crooked and didn't even necessarily know where she was going. And I think that's why a little bit having to come back and jump through it straight again. Good shot there. Gets through it easy. Now we'll just try to keep it together for the rest of the class. A little bit deep there. Horse jumps around it well. Deep coming into the triple. Actually helped set it up. You can see drops her reins. Needs to reorganize a little bit. Now a little bit far off that oxer, but gets away with that. Going around our island. Strong ride to the triple bar. Now she'll have to sit up for the 3. Can see that 3 walked a tiny bit long, actually, and of course with a triple bar, that means the wider the jump, the more shallow the arc of the horse's jump will be, making that 3 even a little bit longer. Gets over the last, but we'll pick up 19 on the clock, 8 jumping faults, sitting in 5th at the moment for Charlotte Babbit and Vivienne Blue PS. All right, moving on to USA's Aaron Vil and Styles. This is a 7-year-old gelding by Cornetto Belinsky with a Cantoro mother. Of course, Aaron, our 4-star Grand Prix winner from yesterday's competition. But of course, now he's sitting on Styles. I believe this is the youngest horse in the class. Just 7 years old. This is a big enough ask for a 7-year-old at this stage in their career. But Aaron clearly having confidence in Styles. Keeps it patient up that first line. This horse you can see kind of a gummy horse. And just looking like Aaron's keeping it patient. Goes out there, does the 9, but ends up still a little bit too close. Has the front pole coming into that double. Nice there in the 6. A little bit of a rub at B, but that stays up. Beautiful jump there. This horse certainly looking like he will be able to jump the high-level sport as he develops. Green for this height, but doing it well. Patient there on the 4. This horse has a really big stride. Does the 8. Really fires off the ground to the last. Time is 76.939, just under our time allowed, but with the 1 down early, Styles and Aaron Vil have to settle on the 4 faults. All right, moving on to USA's Heather Caristo Williams and Cantino Quick MVF. Say 8-year-old stallion by Contendro 1 with a Carino mother. and Cantino, owned by Stephanie Bolger of New York, New York. So just 8 years old. Again, this National Grand Prix to finish out the year is always a nice stepping stone for these horses that are sort of getting ready, coming into their 9-year-old year, which they'll be really ready to jump a higher level. This is always a nice, solid way to finish the year. Gets the 8. This horse looking very scopy. Nice uphill balance. Stays out in the 9. Funny, the 9, even though it's one more stride, it just doesn't seem to be working out for a lot of the riders. The couple of 8s that we saw really seem to work out beautifully. But the 9, they're all staying out to try to fit the 9, but still getting there a little bit early and having that front pull down. Sits up good for the triple. Good shot at the jump on the end. Looking like it's getting a little bit strong out there for Heather, but still need to ride with leg. Long there in the 3. Again, like I was talking about, that triple bar, they land shallow, and then you got to really move up in the 3. Good stretch there for the horse over the 4-stride oxer. Sits up at the end, gets over the last. We'll have to settle on those 4 faults. 72.466 for Heather Caristo Williams and Cantino Quick. But again, just 8 years old, moving up. Pretty solid round with just the 4 faults. Good pets for the horse. She's proud of him, I'm sure. Moving up, nice way to finish up the year. All right, moving on to USA's Caroline McLeese and Fleetwood. Fleetwood is a 13-year-old gelding owned by the DKM Capital Partners out of Wellington, Florida. Tried to look up the breeding on this horse, but I could not find it. So, I'm not sure where he's out of, but let's see what Caroline and Fleetwood can do. Big, strong gallop if you see it. Big jump at number 2. She set that up really well. The horse really could sit on his hind legs and fire over it. Does the 9 as well. And again, we see that front pole coming down. They're all just getting there a little bit too early in the 9 strides. Again, with the first couple that went did 8. And I really liked how that worked out. That worked out great for everybody. But the 9 is just not working out for people. Again, they're opting to do that 9 strides because you think, all right, you're coming into a double. You want to be as balanced and set up as possible. You have 8 or 9 steps. It's a long way. You have the time to get that balance and do the 9. Woo, there she gets jumped up real high and loose. Gets herself back into the tack. And just a little bit far and discombobulated to that triple bar. For sure a residual from what happened at the top oxer. But she's got herself back. Wow. Jumps up real high. You can see her almost kind of laughing. And a big shot at the last. Good for her to finish up. Time 76.0126. She'll finish up with 8 faults. But that is a big jumping horse for Caroline McLeese and Fleetwood. You can see she's laughing as she's getting jumped out of the tack. But I kind of like that horse. We'll see what he does in the future. All right, moving on to Belgium's Philip de Wandel and Manhattan van Leeuwenhoek. The 11-year-old gelding by Emerald. It's a Belgian-bred horse owned by the Five-Way Farm LLC of Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Philip representing his home nation of Belgium, but of course based here in the U.S. This horse looking a little spry this morning. You can see him playing as Philip picks up the canter. Nice and patient in the 8. Choose it to the 9. Gets over that oxer. I've seen a lot of trouble there, but no problem for Philip. This horse by Emerald, similar kind of behavior on the hind end as Emerald. You can see that tail going, a little bit kicking up and playing. That was something we'd see from his father a lot. Amazing how the traits come through in the breeding. In America, it's not so common here to think about the breeding, but it's certainly something when you're going to look and buy horses and trying them and developing them to understand a little bit what the lines of the breeding normally do, and then you can kind of anticipate what to expect out of your horses as you develop them. Chooses to do 1 extra stride there out of the corner, but that actually helps set up the 4 stride for him. Certainly choosing to do the 8. Oh, maybe does 9. Gets over the last, and that will be our first clear, 73.966. And that'll be our first clear coming out of Belgium with Philip de Wandel and Manhattan. So 1 on the good list so far. We're going to see 13 more contest this first round. Actually, 14 more. But Philip going clear for our first. All right, moving on to USA's Adrien Sternlicht and Casano PS. Casano is an 8-year-old by Casalca with a Grand Canyon mother and owned by the Starlight Farms 1 LLC out of Greenwich, Connecticut. Adrien was cleared in our jump off of the meter 50 class earlier this morning, and of course, team gold medalist from the World Games in Tryon. Sits up in the 8. Beautiful. This horse was formerly seen under Bertram Allen and Carrie Potter and has the same mother as Chagnon, which is the big chestnut horse that we see Ansgar Holter showing a lot of times. There, the horse just looked like he didn't quite push off evenly as he jumped through that and struggled to jump the oxer coming in and then made the 2 a little bit long. But she gets out of it. Just wasn't so balanced as he took off. Kind of trailed that hind end as he took off. Stutters there. Tad has B down. But again, just an 8-year-old developing. She's just taking her time. We'll keep an eye on what this time allowed plays in for her. Moves up in the 3. Steady up here in the 4 stride for her. Does the patient 8 at the end. Gets through the time, but she does pick up a couple of time faults. 78.603. 8 jumping faults, 2 on the clock for a total of 10 for Adrien Sternlicht and Casano PS. All right. 1 for the jump off so far, but we're going to see now a USA's Jonathan McCrae and Fantasy BB. 13-year-old mare owned by the Windsor Show Stables out of East Windsor, Connecticut. John has had the ride on this horse for many years. Got it as a 6-year-old, actually out of an auction in Europe. Nice 8. Big jump there. Always a scopy horse, this. Bicardento with a Labor's VDL in Dorado as on the mother's side. Well ridden there into the oxer. Horse really jumped around that great. There he moves up for the 5. Funny, he jumped that double better than most of the people, and then he's having to move up in the 5. We've seen other people having to steady a little bit in that 5. Strong ride out of the corner here. Gets right to the base of the oxer. Now steadies up for the triple. Vertical, vertical. Ooh, hard rub at B, but that stays up. Big jump coming out at C. Good shot there. You can see lands, puts his legs on, moves away from that oxer, thinking about the time allowed. Big, strong ride here at the triple bar. Gets to the base. Then he can settle in the 3. He's coming down the last. Patient in here. Strong ride there. Great effort on the horse's part to jump that Liverpool. Keeps moving to the last. Good shot. Time is 74.987 and a clear for Jonathan McCrae in Fantasy BB. So that's assuring us of a jump off 2 clear at the moment. And Jonathan McCrae in Fantasy adding their name to the good list. All right, moving on to USA's Tina Yates and Balioni. Balioni is a 9-year-old mare by Spartacus with a Cipriani, as Cipriani is the mother, owned by Stevie Mackin of Wellington, Florida. Eight there, but the horse you can see just lagged the front leg a little bit and a little bit too slow to get it out of the way. Has the front pole of that oxer. Does the 8 coming in, but then gets there a little bit early. Has the front pole also coming in there. Jumps out of the 5 stride well. Sits up there for good for the triple. A little bit of leg coming out. Triple is riding quite well for everybody. Not seeing too much trouble there. Gets a little bit deep and a little bit dead on takeoff there. Ends up popping up, but landed on the back pole. That comes down. Good ride at the triple bar. Moves up a little bit for the 3. Beautiful ride there in the 4. Steady up in the 8. Gets there a little bit early. She'll finish up with 12 jumping faults, 1 on the clock for a total of 13 and a time of 77.228 for Tina Yates and Balioni. So 2 clear so far. And moving on to our meter 50 winner from earlier today. And Tiffany Foster from Canada and Comesta. Comesta is a 9-year-old mare by Comille Foe with a Cantino 2 mother. This horse owned by 5 roosters of Westlake Hills, Texas. See if Tiffany can make it 2 for the win this week. She actually won a class earlier in the week, too. Simple 9 up the first line. So she stays out, does the 9, gets a little bit deep. Again, that's what we're seeing time and time again. The 9 is just not working out for people. They're staying out, trying to get straight and balanced, but they're just getting there a little bit too early, and the horse is looking through those solid red poles and just not jumping well at all. Gets right to the base there. A little skip stride as he takes off, but has enough power to get through the triple. Good ride there. The oxer up at the top. She balances up in that 3. This horse has a big stride. Beautiful ride there at the 4. Tiff has such a beautiful riding style. Keeps it simple to the last, but does pick up that early fault for 4 faults in a time of 75.552 for Tiffany Foster and Comesta. So she'll have to settle on the 4. So not another win for her today, but Not too shabby of a day to win that meter 50 earlier on. All right, moving on to USA's Dominic, Gibbs, and Clip de la Haye Zed. 11-year-old stallion. Owned by Mountain King Ranch, LLC, out of Colorado Springs, Colorado. Again, another horse with unknown breeding. Tried to look it up, couldn't find it. With that Z at the end, I'm going to assume that it's a Zangerside horse. But again, that's just an assumption. Simple in the 8. Again, Dominic opting for no martingale, keeping the head and neck free. There we go. Good shot there coming into the triple, but then unfortunately has B down. Just jumped a little bit body low at the vertical. Kind of jumped flat and at it instead of up and around it. Looking good so far, other than that early fault. Gets right to the base of that, moves up a little bit in the 3. Yeah, you can see as he moved up, it was a little bit gappy and a little bit flat. The horse just jumped at the vertical a little bit. That's why that comes down. Again, that 3 walked a little bit long, and with the triple bar, makes it even more length to the line when you have to land shallow. So he'll finish up time is 73.102 with 8 faults total for Dominic, Gibbs, and Clip de la Haye Zed. So 2 clear at the moment. You can see him shaking his head in frustration, annoyed by that single. Oh, he had 2 faults on the course, but frustrated, but not too bad of a round. Nice loose rein to walk out of the ring. And next up, we are going to see Christina Kelly, hopefully. Yep, there we go. Ireland's Christina Kelly and H.H. Presley Boulevard. It's an 8-year-old gelding by Presley Boy with an Alexis Zed mother. It's a Belgian warm blood owned by the Double H Farm of Wellington, Florida. LLC of Wellington, Florida. Christina coming from Columbus, North Carolina, but representing her home nation of Ireland. Actually, I haven't seen Christina ride in a long time, but I used to absolutely admire her. I thought she was one of the best young riders that was coming up through the ranks a few years back. She's super talented. And let's see what the 8-year-old Presley Boulevard can do. Nice and simple up that first line. Christina has beautiful position on the horse. You can see really strong in her position. She's really around the horse. Really strong up there. She's not moving at all. The legs are really around the horse. Beautiful connection. Sort of uses her legs, keeps that engine going, and then nice and steady with her hands. Balancing up there. Ooh, a little bit of a rub at A, but it stays up. Ugh, but doesn't get away with it at C. Front pole of that oxer coming down. A little bit long at the IDA oxer up at the top, but that stays up. Nice jump there. 3 works out nice for her. A little bit of a stretch and reach there coming out. Has the back pole of the Liverpool. Good effort on the horse at the last jump. She'll finish up. Time is 75.146 for a total of 8 faults. Sitting in 10th place at the moment for Ireland's Christina Kelly and H.H. Presley Boulevard. All right, moving on to USA's Ryan Gen and Taga PS. First of our 8 remaining, Taga PS is a 9-year-old by Canthargos. And it is a mare owned by Bridalborn Stables, LLC. Canthargos, the stallion and the sire of this horse, was such a nice horse. He was very popular, but he died this year. And people love breeding with him, and I couldn't agree more because they're such elastic, gummy horses, jump in a good way, lots of blood, really good sort of modern sport horses. So let's see if Taga is like his dad. Like her dad. Like her dad. Does have the skinny down. Little bit of a reach there coming into the double. Has the front pole of that as well. Gets right to the base of that oxer. Up the 6. Jumps through that triple like it's nothing. Very simple. You can see her swishing her tail. That's a typical mare behavior that we see. Just showing off her personality. Little bit long there at the triple bar. Gets away with that. Jumps the vertical well. It is getting really windy out there. I can hear the wind whistling. Little bit of a reach at that oxer. He adds leg to the last. A little bit far away, but gets away with that. Time is 75.651 with the 2 down for 8 faults. And Ryan Gen and Taga PS. So again, still sitting just on the 2 clear at the moment. This $25,000 Resilient Fitness National Grand Prix certainly proving challenging for the riders. But let's see if Hungary's James Wingrave and Paloma can make it 3 on the good list. Paloma is a 2006 mare by Canaletto S with a Henzo de la Brasserie mother. Owned by Kathleen Kamine of Oldwick, New Jersey. Paloma's been a horse around in this sport in the U.S. for a long time. Was ridden by Carrie Potter out in California. Peter Wild. Was always a good horse in California, but it's been over on the East Coast now for a number of years. And I actually think maybe this horse was actually bred in the U.S. because Canaletto is a stallion from the Oaks. The Oaks was a breeding stud out in California. Didn't breed too much, but gave a lot of good horses. Paloma being one of them. So she's been around a long time. Beautiful there. She jumped that better than most of the horses this whole class. Steadies up for the 5. You can see this horse's hind leg really grabs the ground. Lots of push. Keeps that canter active. Oh, has B down of the triple and then jumps a little bit left coming out. Nice shot there at the end jump. Oh, little shake of the head. But he keeps her focused. Gets over the triple bar. Patient up in that 4. Gets over the last, but we'll have 2 down for 8 total of a time of 72.785 for James Wingrave and Paloma. So 2 down on the course, sitting in 8th place at the moment. Again, only 2 clear. And we will see if USA's Kelly Orani can add her name to the good list with Mardy. Mardy is a 2012 mare by Spartacus with a Milreeve VDL dam sire. Owned by Marigot Bay Farm, LLC out of Wellington, Florida. Again, this class certainly challenging enough, only 2 clear, but we have a lot of younger horses in this class. There's even some younger riders stepping up to this higher level, so not so unexpected to not see too many clears. Just a little bit flat and quick at that skinny top pole coming down. Jumps into that double well, backs up really good there at B. Just looked like at the skinny, the horse just didn't quite jump up and around it, kind of just jumped at it a little bit. Ooh, a little bit of a skip step there on takeoff. You can see a really odd leg to get out at C, but the triple works out. Strong ride there. All the horses are holding themselves a little bit up at that IDA oxer up at the top. You can see every rider kind of lean back and sit up. And there just looked like out of the turn. She was hoping to maybe get one less, and then it just wasn't quite coming up right. So she said, whoa, this isn't working. Let's not jump from a bad distance. So she'll come back around, jump it again. Gets over that. Sits up in the 3. Sits up early, fits the 4 stride in nice. And then we'll need to keep it active here to the last. Has the front pole. She'll finish up with 12 jumping faults, 17 on the clock. Time is 93.020 for Kelly Orani and Mardy. First of our 5 riders remaining, Ireland's Derek Cairns and Darius de Cairglen. Darius, a 10-year-old gelding by my Lord Catargo. And a Diamant Assembly mother, owned by Twin Oak Ventures LLC and Martin Huggins. It's a French-bred Celle Francais. And let's see if we can add any more riders to our jump off. So far, only 2 clear. Just nice and simple there. This is a big horse. My Lord Catargo. This horse seen under Penelope Leperveau. Strong ride there. Big and scopy horse. Good shot there. Gets up that 6. A little bit of a rub at B. Very light rub. That one stays up. Again, maybe it's a little bit our camera angle. Everyone looks a little bit far off that oxer up at the top, but not causing too much trouble. Big strided horse sits up in 3 strides. And now he's going to balance and then gets the 4. Steadies and then pushes a little bit at the end. And there we go. Just under our time allowed, 76.478. But the clear round for Derek Cairns and Darius. So, hadn't seen a clear one in a while. Now we've got 3 to come back for our deciding jump off. But first we've got 4 riders remaining. First of those is going to be USA's Colin Sakia and Hocus Pocus. Hocus Pocus is a 11-year-old gelding, Dutch-bred warm blood, owned by Christian Dominguez of Barrington, Rhode Island. Colin's got his sunglasses on. Everyone very happy to have sunglasses on at the moment because it was pouring rain and miserable earlier today, but now it is sunny as can be. A little bit windy out there, but a nice Florida afternoon. Supposed to get quite chilly here over the next few days. Going to start to feel like winter down in South Florida. But today it's still nice. Simple in the 8. Does the 9. See how this works out. Jumps great. There we go. Moves up a little bit in that 5. Then you can see Colin lands. Thinks about that time allowed, really gallops away from that 5-stride line. Takes the first shot out of the corner here to that oxer, so he can steady up in the 6. Jumps up around A and gets through B and C. There we go. That's the right shot there at that oxer. A lot of horses holding themselves off that and getting a little bit far away, but Colin really rode to the base beautifully. A little bit of light touch there at the yellow, but that one stays up. To steady up for this 4. Beautiful jump there. 1 left to go. And there we go. Time is 76.760, just under that time allowed, but another clear, so making it 2 in a row, and now 4 coming back for our jump off, but 3 left to jump. So 4 on the good list, and let's see if USA's Maggie Hill can add her name to the list with Maestro van Roosacker. Maestro van Roosacker is an 11-year-old mare by Culetto, owned by Summit Farms LLC of Jackson, Wyoming. First of 3 remaining. Has the first jump down. It's the second time we've seen that jump come down. It's sort of a simple, plain black vertical away from the gate. Again, black poles always a little bit harder for the horses to see, and a vertical as a first jump in a course is always a little bit plain, right? The course designer sets something a little bit plain. He's just testing that the horses and riders are sharp as they have to jump that first jump, and it is a test that course designers sort of do. And we do see those sort of plain verticals, especially away from the gate, that often come down. Jumps through that triples, nice and simple. Again, sometimes you have that first jump down, and it's a little bit frustrating and deflating as a rider, but it can also kind of take the tension away, and then you can ride a beautiful round afterwards. Nice and simple in the 3 strides. Beautiful there in the 4. 1 left to go. Clears the last. Time is 78.055. She will pick up 2 time faults. 4 on the clock. Total of 6 for Maggie Hill and Maestro van Roosacker, sitting in 10th place at the moment. So, unfortunate first rail, but she did pick up the 2 on the clock as well. Now we'll move on to USA's Richard Neal on his second mount of the class with Camila 111. Owned and ridden by Richard out of Wellington, Florida. It's an 8-year-old mare by Phantomus Demuse with a Clovis 111 mother. Phantomus is a stallion out of the Demuse stable. Demuse is Joris de Brabander and breeds tons of great horses out of Belgium. But Phantomus I really like. Great character horses, meaning they're easy to work with, want to please, and I'm really liking some of the offspring from Phantomus at the moment. Just nice and simple. You see this horse just kind of has a simple bridle, no martingale. Patient in the 6. Gets through that triple. A little bit slow there at the top, Oxer, but gets over it. Nice good ride at the triple bar. Oh, just barely touches that and it comes down, the yellow vertical. Oh, and then that comes down as well. So sitting on the 8 faults at the moment. Picks up the last as well, finishing in 12 faults. Time is 74.725 for Richard Neal and Camilla 111. Maybe just ran out of gas a little bit near the end of the course. Jumped the first part of it beautifully, but we'll have to finish up on 12 faults. All right, moving on to our final entry of the $25,000 Resilient Fitness National Grand Prix. Before we're going to see our jump off, we've got Mexico's Nicole Velasco Magana and Daddy's Destiny. 11-year-old mare by Comille Foe, owned and ridden by Nicole herself out of Coral Gables, Florida. This will be our last one in the first round. So far, 4 coming back for our jump off. Nice ride there, 1 to 2. Does the 9, and just gets there a little bit early, pushing the front pole out of the way. This horse looks like bloody and sporty little horse, but she just got there a little bit early in the 9. Nice kick out there behind. Horse trying to be careful, doesn't want to touch the jumps. Oh, there, just kind of sticks her leg back down into that, having the back pole of C. Good reaction, though, at the next jump. Jumps up real high. There, she was just a little bit too slow and deep into the triple bar, has the back pole, and that doesn't quite get there in the 3 strides, and the horse says, no, we're too far away. Can't jump from there. But it looks like Nicole's raised her hand. She will retire within the round. So that's making it 4 for our deciding round. We're going to see Philip de Wandel of Belgium come back, then USA's Jonathan McCrae, Derek Cairns of Ireland, and Colin Sikia of the U.S. coming back for our deciding round. Their tractors are going to come in, just reset, redrag. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be back with you guys shortly for the jump-off of the $25,000 Resilient Fitness National Grand Prix. All right, welcome back, everybody, to the $25,000 Resilient Fitness National Grand Prix here at Holiday 2 at Wellington International. We're getting ready for our jump off. Tractors are just making their final laps. They're putting the jumps back into the cups, and we are going to see 4 come back for the deciding round. First of those will be Belgium's Philip de Wandel and Manhattan van Leeuwen-Rickenhoff. He was our trailblazer from round 1 on the 11-year-old gelding, owned by Five Way Farm LLC. Horse is out of Emerald, and he showed everyone how to do it. We only saw 4 coming back after 23 entries. Attempted the first round, course rode quite well, but struggled enough with the riders. And now we're going to see who is going to take the win here today with 4 coming back in the jump off. Start clock is going. Jump off is going to be up at the top. And he's going to start off with number 15, new jump, straight ahead to number 5. Does 9 strides. Now it's right-handed turn back to the original number 6. Does 8 vertical oxer, so it's BC of the triple. Now long run up to the oxer, up at the top. Turn back to what was the triple bar is now a vertical. And long run to the Liverpool oxer at the end. Gets the double clear, automatic leading time, 37.764. So that will be our automatic leader, 37.764 on the clear for Philip de Wandel and Manhattan van Leeuwen-Rickenhoff. So with the double clear, showing us how it's done, and putting the pressure on remaining 3 riders. Time to beat 37.764 with the clear round. Let's see what USA's Jonathan McCrae and Fantasy BB can do to challenge that time set by Belgium's Philip de Wandel. Again, new jump. He did 9 from 1 to 2. Let's see what he does. Also does the 9. Now rolls back on number 6. Does the 8. You could see he was on that sort of sharp angle there. He's kicking down to the oxer up at the end. Gets a good shot. Left-hand turn back on now the vertical. And long run to the last. Let's see what John does. He keeps kicking. Really far away. Sits up. Gets through. 37.725. Just taking over that lead. 37.725 on the clear. Into first. Just a couple of hundredths of seconds ahead. And John McCrae going into the lead. Very exciting there. He kept kicking. You can see how he sat up at the last. It was a faraway distance. He wasn't sure how the horse was going to handle it. But his trusty steed, Fantasy BB, making easy of it. And into the lead for Jonathan McCrae. Let's see what Ireland's Derek Cairns can do with Darius de Cairglen. First of our remaining 2 in this jump-off for the $25,000 Resilient Fitness National Grand Prix. Gets the 9. He's inside the tracks. You can see it there. Good shot here. Makes the 8 easy. Now he's got to run. Jonathan was so quick here. He really kept kicking. I think that was maybe one more stride that Dara does. Got to be tight back on this vertical, and he's going to have to run to the last if he's going to catch that time. A 37.725. Can he do it? He's kicking to the last. And he clears it. Nope, he doesn't get him. 38.146 into third for Derek Cairns and Darius de Cairglen. Maybe a little bit slower in the first part of the course. He was certainly quick at the end, but sitting in third at the moment, 38.146 for Dara. So we've got that leading time of Jonathan McCrae, 37.725. And the last to contest is going to be the USA's Colin Sakia and Hocus Pocus. Again, time to beat 37.725. So we're going all the way down to the thousands to see this time. Hocus Pocus 2012 gelding, owned by Christian Dominguez and ridden by Colin Sakia of the USA. All right, let's see what he can do. He's got to do the 9 up that first line. He's got to be tight back. They've all gotten that first distance out of the corner to number 6. The 8 down to the double, and then they got to run to those last 3 singles. Let's see if Colin can do it. Start clock going. Running start, trying to line up that 9. Time to beat 37.725. A little bit tight there. He's got to be faster here. I don't think he's on pace to catch him, but let's see. Does the 8, and now he's going to have to run. Oh, he has that front pole of the double. That means our winner is going to be John McCrae and Fantasy BB. And with the 4 faults, automatically going to put Colin Sakia into 4th place, as the other 3 riders were all double clear. So Colin can just ease up to the end, and he'll finish up. Time is 41.890 with the 4 faults and into 4th place. So that means our winner of the $25,000 Resilient Fitness National Grand Prix is going to be Jonathan McCrae and Fantasy BB, owned by the Windsor Show Stables. In second, we're going to see Manhattan Van Leeuwen-Rikkenhoff with Philip DeWandel. And in third, Darius de Kerglen and Dara Cairns. Rounding out that top 4, Colin Sakia. Heather Christo Williams will take the 5th spot. In 6th, it's Nicole Velasco. And 7th, Colin Sakia again. 8th, Tiffany Foster. 9th, Aaron Vale. And 10th, Maggie Hill. They're going to set for the prize giving ceremony now here for the $25,000 National Grand Prix presented by Resilient Fitness. It's been a great day of show jumping. Beautiful sun out for this prize giving ceremony. And remember, guys, stay tuned all winter long. We're going to bring you live show jumping action every Wednesday through Sunday here at Wellington International. And again, thanks to our official veterinarian, Palm Beach Equine Clinic is pleased to announce that it is advancing its breeding services and now offering OPU and ICSI sessions. ICSI has become an invaluable tool for overcoming fertility issues and provides a method of producing foals with limited interruption to the mare's competition schedule. To learn more about OPU sessions offered this season, contact Palm Beach Equine Clinic at 561-793-1599. So we saw 23 combinations contest this round of the National Grand Prix. 4 made it into the jump-off, with USA's Jonathan McCrae coming out on top on Fantasy BB. They're just getting ready for the prize giving. And our 4th place rider is Colin Sakia coming in with Hocus Pocus. Colin just making sure his hair looks good for the photo. Good pet for his horse. It was a good effort, but with the 1 down, he will have to settle for 4th. Nice smile there for perfect photo. Congrats again to Colin Sakia and Hocus Pocus in 4th. Our 3rd place finisher is going to be Dara Cairns and Darius de Kerglen with a time of 38.146 with the double clear. into third for Dara. Congratulations. Our second place finisher is going to be Philip de Wandel of Belgium and Manhattan Van Leeuwer Rickenhoff. His time was 37.764 on the double clear. Just a couple of hundredths of the second behind our winner, who was, of course, Jonathan McCrae and Fantasy BB, representing the USA. Time was 37.725 for our winner. Horse looks a little excited from the win. Nice pet there for the longtime partner. Jonathan will stick his helmet back on. They'll do their victory lap. Again, thank you guys for tuning in to the $25,000 Resilient Fitness National Grand Prix here at Holiday 2. I'm Danny Waldman. This has been a presentation of Wellington International, and we'll see you guys in the new year. Catch us again for tons of action coming up every week starting in January. Thanks again, everyone, and see you next time.